What's going on, guys? I want to take a second to show y'all one of the coolest cars in the shop. See what you think. Pretty cool. 1956 Chevy Bel Air 2-door hardtop. Super clean car. Great interior. To me, this is one of the most classic colors for the Tri-5 Chevys. I've always known them as like a seafoam green, but I believe the correct color for 56 is pine crest. Pine crest green. It's kind of a teal green color. I don't think it gets any better. Beautiful matching interior. Very cool. This particular car came in running and driving. The goal was to add AC and just get this thing road trip ready. Customer wants to drive this thing down Route 66, so got to make sure it is dependable and ready to go with no problems. Started digging into it, found some engine problems, found some transmission problems. Solution for the engine ended up being a crate motor. We don't really know the history of the car, if it was the original block in the car. It had already been modified with a turbo 350 transmission. So originality was not a big deal on this car, but making it dependable and perfect was absolutely necessary. So we did try to keep it period correct. It's got the big polyglass white wall tires. I mean, nothing else looks right on this car. You got to have the big white walls. But we did some engine work to try to keep it looking kind of stock, and I think it turned out pretty good. Let me show you all that. Say kind of stock. So what we have here is a Chevy 350 crate motor. It's a 345 horse. It's got a roller cam. This cast iron head, nothing radical about it. But what we did to try to preserve this car is we actually used the original 2-barrel cast iron intake on it. The Rochester 2-jet carburetor. That's a great carburetor. Those were used in a lot of the early 3-deuce setups. Great carburetor, nothing wrong with it. I am kind of different when it comes to carburetors. I don't really believe there's too small or too big. It's just tuned properly. Yes, this motor, 345 horse motor, would benefit from an aluminum intake with a big 4-barrel carburetor to get that true 345 horsepower number. But tuned properly, this carburetor runs down the road just as good as anything else. Engine runs great. Perfect fuel mixture. It works. And we could load up, we could put a big old 750 Holly on it and make more power and get it tuned to drive properly in this car. But again, you know, trying to keep it simple, somewhat period correct looking. You know, we even went with the big Power Master alternator that's, you know, looks like a generator. The air cleaner, that took some thinking. This is an original oil bath air cleaner assembly. That's how they came in 56. We cleaned it up, put some oil in it, and it was making a mess everywhere. It was leaking. So we made the choice to modify it. It now has Can-In cone filter inside there that is plenty big to feed the 2-barrel. Nice and clean, easy maintenance, and it looks right. It looks cool. Customer chose really cool valve covers. It was Billet Specialties aluminum valve covers, black with the Chevy script. Just kind of all ties it in together. We added AC to it, Vintage Air Products. Makes a nice kit for this. That kit was ordered before we knew we needed a motor and we were going down this path. And we kind of, in hindsight, it's like, man, it would have looked killer with a black compressor. But polished one looks great too. Got the big radiator. Everything fit nice up front. My personal opinion, when you go with these 134 modern AC systems, an electric fan is most of the times absolutely necessary. 134 systems run higher line pressure, hotter condenser temperatures, so keeping them cool, very, very important. And we did run across a strange problem with this car after installing that big electric fan. We're having fuel vaporization. Felt like the car was running out of fuel at highway speeds. Ended up being a very, very simple problem, and it was the fuel line and fuel filter location. We had the fuel line coming out of the carburetor with the fuel filter right here, right next to the compressor, you know, kind of close to where the stock location would be. But it was getting a constant jet stream of hot air directly from that big, powerful electric fan right here. And it was heating that fuel filter up to 160 degrees. Just got to think, we got, 200 degrees in the radiator, that hot fan, just like a hair dryer. So we did relocate the fuel line. It wraps around, and then we've got the fuel filter and a gauge up by the core support. I think it turned out looking just fine. And just that simple change from the fuel filter being right here in the hot air stream to being down there made the world of difference. This thing drives perfect, no problems, stays cool in the Texas heat, AC blows cold, 2-barrel carburetor is tuned perfect, fires right up, gets down the road, does everything you need it to do. And it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Another addition we did to this car was the Classic Instruments gauge cluster. That thing is really nice. All electronic sending units. Electronic speedometer, so all the gauges sweep nice and smooth. They're accurate, dependable. Sometimes getting these gauges in the classic cars is difficult, time consuming, and even brand new aftermarket parts don't always work right. But we've done a few of these from Classic Instruments, and they are awesome. They're expensive, but they're awesome. They work great. Very happy with that. See the Old Air Products AC unit runs off the factory deluxe heater control. The vents tucked under the dash. Very nice system. Yeah, for me, I love the interiors on these cars. The fabric, the stitching, the different color combinations, all the chrome on the dash, the big steering wheel. This one's fun to drive. So I say let's get in it and cruise it. See how it does. dialed in, fires right up. Pretty mild exhaust. It's got glass packs on it. Just barely be able to tell that this thing's a little bit hotter than stock. But I think it all works together, the total package. That's kind of what it's about. We don't have, you know, trailer queens here. These are all drivers. If you want to drive your car, we get them right. I love seeing these cars out on the road, and driving them is pretty awesome too. Everybody else loves to see them. You cannot drive this car without people turning their heads, giving you thumbs up, honking at you. And again, with this customer, he wants to drive this thing, so I had to drive it and make sure it all works. It's been a tough job. It's really tough. Somebody's got to do it. $582 miles. This thing is road tested and proven. Drive it anywhere. It all works. So let's get out on the road, see how it feels. Alright folks, 1956 Chevy Bel Air. And if driving this thing doesn't put a smile on your face, I can't help it. This thing's pretty awesome. You've seen all the motor work and everything we've done to it. The whole purpose was to make it a good, dependable driving car. So we got the AC cranked up. We're nice and comfortable. All our temperatures and pressures, everything are monitored right here, easy to read. It's just a good driving car. We're going to get it on the highway and put some miles on it, test it, make sure everything's happy. I get the very, very difficult job of cruising this car around for a couple hundred miles, make sure everything's happy on it. So, oh well, do what you got to do, right? So, plenty of power. Good on the highway. We're gonna go cruising. I'll see y'all later. Alright, so that was a good test drive. Put about 20 miles on it that time. Felt great. So I do believe I'm happy with it. Back in the shop and we'll get the customer and pick it up. Make sure he's happy with it, but overall, what a blast. Yeah, we got a couple other ones in here too. I don't know, this one's pretty sweet. Hope you enjoy. I'll see y'all later.